What's good, YouTube? It's Nas, and I'm back with another video. A grind to 50 subscribers. We almost there, but we just gonna keep getting into it. Remember this conversation when I first got to college. I had with my roommate of who's the third best shooting guard of all time. Often NBA fans debate whether it's D Wade or is it James Harden. I just want to compare them by their achievements and their stats, because people often say numbers don't lie, but also if you watched them both, or if you haven't watched old D Wade and you're young enough where you didn't get to see him before he retired, I encourage you to go watch old D Wade highlights. If you didn't get to see prime Rockets Harden, I encourage you to go watch him. But let's get right into the video. D Wade was a 6'5" shooting guard who can basically do everything on the court except for have a steady jump shot. D Wade is one of the best guard shot blockers of all time, and he's often recognized for that. D Wade's accomplishments speak for themselves. He's a 3-time NBA championship winner with 2006, and he won a Finals MVP. Even though he had Shaq, and people say that Finals was rigged, he still won that, and that was his second year in the league. And not a lot of people won rings in their second year of the league, and he has had Miami on a hold since then. In reality, since his rookie season, he won another championship in 2012 with LeBron James going against the baby Oklahoma City Thunder and Russell Westbrook. James Harden, that's funny, and Russell Westbrook. But D Wade was often the second best player in the LeBron era. D Wade ended up taking a back seat, and he ended up letting LeBron shine because they lost the year before when D Wade was averaging the same stats as LeBron, and he decided to take a back seat because D Wade was still in his prime. Even though the injuries started to happen, D Wade was the best shooting guard in basketball, or top two, because Kobe was still there. But there was an argument because that was an old Kobe, I guess. But people often forget that D Wade was one of them. And in 2013, they went back to back. It's basically the same thing in 2012, where he was the second best player. It was him and Bosh. Bosh, and Braun were just too tough to stop, and they went against the Spurs. They end up losing in 2014, but a rookie, Kawhi Leonard, ended up coming up huge for the Spurs. He's a 13-time All-Star from 2005 to 2016, and the thing about his All-Star appearances, he missed one in 2015, which is kind of crazy, but he made one back in 2016 when he had a career resurgence. But that's all I have to say about his All-Star appearances. He ended up leaving Miami for Chicago. He didn't have a typical All-Star season, but I remember watching it when I was little, and it didn't seem like they had a bad season with Rondo, Jimmy Butler, Wade, Powell. It was a solid Bulls team, if I could remember. They just couldn't get it done. The next year, he got to the Cavs, and he got traded mid-off season, where he was playing terrible basketball for the Cavs, and he ended up getting back to himself, kind of, and had his joy back when he went back to Miami. He's an NBA All-Star Game MVP in 2010. I guess we don't hold too much weight into that, but that All-Star Game filled with a lot of future Hall of Famers, and he managed to come away with that. Two-time All-NBA first team, 2009 and 2010. Now, let me say something. 2009, D Wade was an MVP candidate. I watch his highlights in disbelief. You could see how good he was. And imagine if LeBron never came. They probably wouldn't have won rings. But imagine the stats D Wade could have put up, because his nickname was the Flash for a reason. He was doing everything. His jump shot got better that season, I believe. He was dunking on people. He was crossing people, hitting game winners. He was doing everything. In 2010 season, the year before Braun, he basically went back to back. He did the same thing. Was an MVP candidate again, but he never won an MVP. 3-time All-NBA second team in 2005 and 2006. 2006 was obviously the year he won his MVP. In 2011, that was his last second team. And an All-NBA third team from 2007, 2010, 2012 to 2013. a three-time All-NBA defensive second team in 2005, 2009, and 2010. And like I said, D Wade is one of the best guard defenders of all time. And if you had D Wade on you, it was gonna be tough to score on him. You would have to be a tough bucket getter to actually get a shot up against him, because he would actually end up punching your shit. So D Wade had a lot of work to handle on the offensive end and the defensive end. He was the NBA scoring champion in 2009. Like I said, that was the year I go back to watch D Wade highlights. Those are the years I watch D Wade highlights from below. I don't watch it from 2012 and all that, because that's when he took a back seat. I watch it when D Wade actually was the leader and was the guy. All NBA first team in 2004, obviously. He came third or fourth in Rookie of the Year voting, behind LeBron and Melo. NBA 75 anniversary team, obviously. And obviously his jersey's retired, but D Wade has a lot of accolades, I won't say that. And for his career, he averaged 22.0 points per game, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists. His stats don't really show everything he really did, because they really took a drop off from 2010 to 2011. But from 2005 to 2010, that's a 5-year period, he was averaging 25 a game by himself. But next we're going to get into James Harden. And James Harden's accolades, they really speak for themselves too. It's not as deep as D Wade's, but James Harden was the most valuable player in 2018, obviously. And he was an MVP candidate way before. I believe for the last 3 years before he got his MVP, he was an MVP candidate. He was either second or third every year. And they had to give him this one, and then in this season, they actually reached the conference finals, and they could have actually won the conference finals if Chris Paul never got hurt. But it is a what-if situation, so you never know what could have happened. But all I'm saying is injuries ruined the game. And I don't consider that James Harden's best season, but that's the season he won MVP. James Harden is a 10-time All-Star from 2013 to 2022. And obviously James Harden was an All-Star, and most of those years he was a starter, because in 2014, and one of those years, I believe he replaced Kobe in 2014. 15, he was an All-Star off the bench for Klay Thompson. 2016, he was a reserve for Kobe, obviously, because it's Kobe's last season. And then ever since then, he was a starter until really 2022 is his first real coming off the bench, because the fans loved him and the NBA loved him, even though I didn't respect Harden at the time, and I wish I did. James Harden is a 6-time All-NBA first-team selection from 2014, 2015, 2017, through 2020, and obviously 2013-14 was really his breakout year when he left the Oklahoma City Thunder and he became his own man in Houston, and he did what he had to do. He carried that Rockets team from nothing. He brought that franchise literally back to what they were in the Hakeem days, and he made it exciting. Or not the Hakeem days, the T-Mac days, I would say. James Harden is an All-NBA third-team selection in 2013. That was the year he left the Thunder. He's the NBA Sixth Man of the Year when he was on the Thunder. On the Thunder, he showed flashes of potential. That's why I hear an All-Star game. I mean, not an All-Star game in the Olympics. LeBron and D Wade encouraged him to leave the Thunders because he was too nice to be coming off the bench. He's a 3-time scoring champion 2018 through 2020. That whole 2 years, I'm pretty sure he averaged 33 or more, and he was killing it. Best scoring, he was averaging 40, like Stephen A. said. He did anything it took to win the basketball game, and he was dropping triple-doubles. Even though people say he wasn't passing, he still managed to average 8 assists. He made Clint Capella look like a good basketball player. That's how good James Harden was during those years. He's a 2-time All-NBA, not All-NBA, 2-time NBA assist leader in 2017 and 2023. That's why I don't get the notion that James Harden is not a passer, because James Harden is one of the best passers of all time, and he's often underrated as a passer just because of how good he was as a scorer. That's why on the Clippers right now, he's showing his playmaking bag, but he's always had that playmaking bag. It's just he lost a step after the hamstring injury, so he had to tap into his playmaking bag more. He's the All NBA second team in 2010. Nothing to say about that. And he was the NBA 75 anniversary team, obviously, just like D Wade. James Harden, for his career, at this moment, he averaged 24 a game, 5 rebounds, and 7 assists, which his careers have taken a dropping off because of the last few seasons, but in his prime, he was averaging 28 plus. Only one year he averaged 27 was 2014-15, and then right after 2014-15, those numbers skyrocketed to 29, 30, 36, 34, 24, 24, and then you know the rest. But needless to say, I guess I got to give my answer. Well, when I was talking to my friend, I had said James Harden was the better player, like offensive-wise, and D-Wade was the best player defensive-wise. But if they were to play against each other now, I feel like, or both of them in their primes, I feel like D-Wade would get the better of that matchup. But James Harden is still going to go off. So I guess I'm going to label D-Wade as the third best shooting guard of all time. Let me know how y'all feel about the D-Wade and Harden comparison and who is the third best shooting guard of all time. Subscribe.